Perfection in moral and political philosophy, or rather theories of, rated an entry today in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Having just completed reading a fiction book named Litigation about some Chicago lawyers, I thought I would comment on the topic. For one thing, the phenomenon of developing a formal philosophy of moral perfection with the accompanying political system that perfectly develops human society toward an ideal good requires an objective construction. Some brilliant Spartan long ago developed a political philosophy to create perfectly moral individuals, citizen warriors in the ideal civil structure, or believed he did so, and Socrates built their own version of that system synthesized with the good such as existed in the Athenian democracy they sought to overthrow in the little book named the Republic. Today, we tend to regard the Athenian democracy as racist, quaint, and for short-lived people supported by slaves, and the Republic as fascist. In America, the unexamined life is regarded by some as the perfect moral synthesis, with political philosophy united with copious public deficit spending that can be repaid later by the rich or by uneducated immigrants, or transferred in some way offshore through perhaps quantitative easing and various extra-dimensional fiscal perfection of making pure profit on paper without making anything physically portrayed. Of course, I'm a little skeptical about the idea of perfection in political or moral philosophy myself. The unexamined life shot out of a cannon in Chicago as unreflective fat persons mass-consuming and producing without regard for making philosophical considerations of the ideal way for humans to live. Mortimer Adler could do the moral and political agonizing for Chicagoans while the rest could take pills to stay alive and litigate about everything. Lifestyle of the masses in that context can adjust its moral and political criteria for perfection to impulsive, dedicated, even passionate consumption continuing until one drops dead and is outsourced to the Zen oblivion beyond the edge. Politically, one might quantitatively ease the left and right fringes or advance radical adjustments in allocation of resources, yet it's all regarded as the phenomenal political acts of apostles of existential throughput for whom all things must pass. In perfect moral and political actualization of phenomenalism, the transcendence of the mass political gestalt is accomplished implicitly metatheoretically by the economic engine of history. We may view the city amidst the former stockyards and meat processors from a distance with a neo-cynical view influenced by Paul Tillich. However, we can be sure that actual moral and political reform is probably much simpler than developing a theory about it. Creation of a perfectly moral paradigm with political reason would need to embody a Kantian synthetic a priori social judgment about the environment and mankind's relation to it. The kingdom of God lies within the soul and manifests as it relates perfectly to the environment without including the body for oneself and for others. In the midst of the rush of mass civil society, with billions of souls toward a moment of eclipse of their own experience on Earth by the biological destiny all human beings share, the reifying drive toward elevation socially is something of a way of avoiding the existential or even empirical facts of life that everyone shares. Recognizing the facts of life and deriving the most efficient and free political method to secure the maximal possible efficient free state of every citizen is the paradigm for shaping political actualization toward perfection. Perfection, of course, is only relative. God confers with grace whatever could be regarded as perfection about anything inclusive of consciousness, yet the networking of physical structures that could be a billion versions of maximally efficient individual dome dwellings, synergistically allocated with nature's simultaneous own best interest as a free biosphere evolving for itself, might simply detach like stitches after construction. For space-time allows no ossification of effort, or end to be reached that is not surpassed by subsequent moments, and the ongoing effort to correct the course of politics toward moral perfection requires liberty as well as discipline to comprise a continuum. A world set with troubles, given unto created beings with things like clouds and rain, dreams and planes, rumbling, crumbling across the first-person narrative of experience, amidst buildings and ossified constructions dumped upon nature's destruction that too few understand, with galactic lenses in several dimensions shaping gravity's paradox, that works at the speed of light, as if it were massless, like a photon following curved space-time through four dimensions held together. A little, as a field with variegated contents, probability, entanglements, the universe one is a net without a cause. For plausibility, enough waterfalls flow somewhere with time, misplaced, one knows, given a few of infinite dimensions, restricted hues of mathematical uncertainties, changing forms of orbital selections viewed from Earth.